right? So that's how this thing works. That's how OR operator works. Now this NOT operator, now it's totally different. All right. Now let me show you NOT operator. Now it will reverse, or you can say inverse. All right, invert the result. All right, it will invert the result. Now for example, let's give a equals 10. All right, the output for this will be true, right? The output for this will be true. Now if we, all right, patch this particular condition, means wrap this condition with the round brackets, and put uh, what is this called, exclamation mark, or not, all right, not operator in front of that condition, and then run it. Here you can see that it is, although the condition is true, it is returning us false. Why? Because this particular not operator, na, it is inverting the result. Now if it is if it is resulting to false, it will return us true. All right, so that's how this not operator works. All right, so till now we have learned about arithmetic operator, relational operator, and logical operator. Now here comes the last one that we are going to learn. All right, this one is assignment operator. All right, see, assignment operators are going to be very useful to us. All right, they are really going to be very useful to us, and you got to be like very like you need to understand how these things work. All right, understand it carefully, because sometimes not because of these operations it might like, especially in this case, this these three for case of these three, it gets a bit confusing. All right, so don't worry, I'm going to understand make you understand this concept brick by brick. All right, so let's remove this. All right, let's remove this again, comment it, and let's give it a name, that is assignment. All right, assignment operator. All right, very cool, very great. Now create a variable, int a equals, let's give it 5. All right, now here we'll used our very first operator. Which one? Equals operator. All right, how? See, equals is an assignment operator. It's in its name only. See, equals is assigning a value to a. All right, equals is assigning a value to a. That's how it is working, right? That's how it is working. So equals is an assignment operator. We learned about our very first operator, right? Means not very first, but learned about our first operator in assignment operator category. All right, now next operator is plus equals. All right, see, I hope you remember we learned about increment and decrement operator. uh, plus equals operators also does the same thing. All right, but it is more modifiable. All right, it is more modifiable. It also increments the value. All right, it also increments the value, but we can determine how much value to increment. All right, like in the previous one we are giving you know a plus plus, and it was only incrementing the value. All right, it was only incrementing the value by 1. We weren't able to change it. Means if we want how to do, like if we use this, we won't be able to increment the value with 2. All right, it will only be incremented with 1. All right, but with the plus equals operator, what we can do is a plus equals 2. All right, and now let's print it. A, let's see, it is 7 because 5 plus 2 equals 7. Right, now there's a more abbreviated, not abbreviated, there's a more expanded version of it. All right, let me show you. A plus equals 1. All right, a plus equals 1, okay, so plus equals 2. All right, also has a big version, that is a equals a plus 2. All right, so basically this would help you to understand how exactly it is working. All right, how this operator is working. So Pay attention carefully. What is happening? First of all, it is performing the addition of a, that is 5 plus 2. Then it is assigning the addition to a, to the variable a. All right, it is performing the addition on a, then it is assigning that addition to the variable a. That's how it is working. All right, so that's how this plus equals operator works. All right, now the next in our, the first let's understand what we learned. We learned about assignment, that is equals operator. Now we learned about plus equals operator. All right, now here comes minus equals operator. This is the decrementing operator but is modifiable. All right, that is a minus equals 2. Let's try it out. See, 5 minus 2, 3. All right, now let's expand it, that is a equals a minus 2. Again, it's doing the same thing, right? Just it is more expanded version. What is doing, it is first performing the calculation, that is it is first decrementing the value by 2, then it is assigning it. All right, so that's how it is working. Now we learned about the three operators, that is assignment, plus equals, all right, that is equals, plus equals, and minus equals. Now here comes multiply equals. Now with the first three operators, your I guess your concept might be clear, but let's say if it isn't clear, I will show it to you. All right, the syntax is something like this: a asterisk equals 2. All right, so what will happen, it will multiply 5 by 2, 5 with 2, sorry. Let's try it out. See, it is multiplying it. Now if we look into the underline, all right, means the underlying logic, it will be like this: a equals a into 2. All right, and 5 into 2 is 10, and then it is assigning it. So that's the underlying logic behind it. All right, now as we understood this, also there's another one, that is divide equals, a divide equals 2. So basically it will divide 5 with 2. Now of course I don't want to divide 5 with 2, so I'm going to change the value to 4. All right, let's see, for the simplicity, here you can see 4 divided by 2 is 2. All right, now let's simplify it. A equals a divided by 2. It's doing the same thing, right? First it is dividing, then it is assigning. As simple as that. All right, that's how this thing works. Now again, the last one remains, that is modulo equals. Let's see. It is returning 0 because of course there's no, it's a complete division if we divide 4 by 2, right? Now let's try it out with 5. Now let's see, it's returning us what, because 1, because it is not performing a complete division, right? So that's how this this whole thing works. All right, so let me show you the abbreviated version of it also. A equals a modulo 2. All right, now let's remove this particular line and let's see if our our idea works or not. See, it is working. Right, now let's change this value of a to 4. Now let's see. So here you can clearly see, all right, here you can clearly see we are able to do all the actions, all right, in the assignment operator, and I hope it is clear how everything under under the hood is working, right? So let's get to our next topic, all right, and that is bitwise operators. I'm just going to tell you the overall idea behind it. So let's see, bitwise operator works on bits and perform bit by bit operation. All right, now in here bit is binary. All right, so before see, the thing is, you have to understand binary operations. All right, you have to understand binary, hexadecimal, octal operations before getting into bitwise operators. All right, because bitwise operators works on binary level. All right, and that's why bitwise operators are fast. All right, so remember that, remember this thing, and I would like, see, I would like you guys, all right, after you are completed with the C# topic, I would really like you guys to do your research and learn about, alright, do your research and learn about bitwise operators more, because it is one hell of an interesting topic. Alright, so do that. Now, here comes another topic, operator precedence. Alright, see, operator precedence is, a very interesting topic. It's like the BODMAS rule in maths. Alright, it's like the BODMAS rule in maths. What BODMAS rule tells us, alright, first of all, it is in BODMAS rule, the associativity, or the importance, alright, the importance is from left to right, alright, the importance of operators, like in the BODMAS rule, the importance of all those operators start from left to right, alright, bracket, off, division, subtraction, multiplication, sorry, bracket, bracket of division, multiplication, addition, subtraction, right? So that's how it is. Means bracket has the very high importance and subtraction has very low importance. All right, and as brackets, all right, as bracket has very high importance, the calculations inside a bracket is performed first, then other calculations are performed. So these, all right, you know these, all right, these this is the whole concept of operator precedence. So I would like you to go through this chart. All right, it's very important to have an understanding of this chart. It's just that it is telling us, all right, about the precedence of operator. All right, that is how important an operator is, and how much important is it from its next operator. So it is telling us that, all right, and I want you guys to have an understanding of this. All right, so that's it for this lecture, and I hope you guys are liking this whole series. So make sure to press the subscribe button, and more lectures are coming. All right, thank you. In this lecture, we are going to learn about conditional statements. All right, conditional statements in C Sharp. The reason why we are learning is we need to know how we drive our program. All right, means how we drive our program to a certain direction. All right, and how do we drive a program to a certain direction? It's by applying conditions. All right, it's it's just like that, like when I guess you guys remember when parents used us to tell us that we will buy you a thing if you bring 90% 90% marks in your exams. Like it's like that, it used to drive us to study harder to get that thing. So that's how conditional works. All right, we give some condition, all right, and it works upon that condition. That's what conditional are. All right, basically conditional statements, now they help us to execute. All right, it helps us to execute some sort of programs. All right, some programs with respect to the conditions assigned to it. All right, now if the condition is true, all right, if the condition is true, then you know uh, a particular statement will get executed, and if the condition is false, it won't get executed. All right, so that's what conditional is. All right, so now first of all, just let me rename this editor to conditionals. Conditionals. All right. So yeah, see, there are there are three, or you can say four, conditional statements out there. Now let me list them down. All right. The very first one is if else. All right, or you can say if and else. The next one is if and else. All right, the third one is inline if. We are going to learn about that, don't worry. And the fourth one is switch statements. All right, or you can say switch case. All right, statements. So there, these are the four types of conditionals we have. All right, so now as we are clear with the, like, what conditionals are, right, we should get going with our very first, our very first statement, that is if and else statements. All right, see, these if and else statements, now it helps us, it helps us to execute some condition. All right, it helps us to execute some statement under some condition. All right, it's like that. It's like, let's say for an example, it's raining outside. All right, for an example, it's raining outside, or let's say, how can I represent it. Yeah, let's say it is raining outside. All right, and you want to take an umbrella. Why you want to take an see, the very first thing, you are going out. All right, you see, while going out, you see that there rain is falling, right? And you are very sure, as it is raining, you want to take a condition, sorry, you want to take an umbrella with you, right? Because it is raining, and if get wet in due to the rain, it will uh, it will give you fever. All right, you won't be well. All right, so you want to prevent it. All right, and because of that, you are getting an umbrella so that you don't get wet, right? So in here, can you, all right, can you guess what is the condition in here? All right, in this case, the condition is rain. All right, how? Let me tell you. See, as it is raining, you are taking the umbrella. What if it didn't rain? You won't be taking an umbrella. All right, because of course, dude, it is not raining. Why would we need an umbrella? We can walk freely, right? So the condition in here is rain, and the statements that are being executed is will is that the person will take umbrella, or he will not take the umbrella. All right, so that's how it is working. Now to to implement. All right, let me tell you about the syntax, how we represent the syntax of if and else. I would implement the example I told you. All right, I will do that right now. Just give me a few seconds. First, let me make you go through with the condition. The first thing is, we have to give a first thing is, we have to write if. All right, and within that if, a condition goes. All right, a condition will go on, and after that, all right, within the if block, some sort of statement will be there. Statement in the sense, some sort of program you have written, or some sort of command you have written, that would go on. All right, and let's say if the condition, all right, if the condition is if the condition is not satisfying, or the condition is wrong, then another set of, another set of statement will work on, right? So if the condition is not true, then means, if this particular statement's condition is not true, then this else block will execute. Now to understand it very carefully, let's code it. First of all, create a bool variable, that is raining, and set it to false as of now, or let's say set it to true. All right, that would be better. Now if is raining equals true, what I want to do is, I want to print I want to print that take your umbrella, right? Let's see if it is working or not. Yeah, it is working, as it is raining. All right, as it is raining, that's why we are taking our umbrella. Let's say what will be the outcome if we say false. See, it is telling us that your program did not output anything. What does it mean? It means that this if condition, here our condition is only that if it is raining. All right, if is raining equals true, then only execute this particular block of code. All right, or else means we haven't specified. Let's, if this is raining equals true condition doesn't execute. All right, let's say if it returns false, then what? All right, then another block of code will show its what can I say, show its magic, that is else block. All right, what else block does is, if any of the condition becomes false, all right, if any of the previous conditions becomes false, it will go to the else block, all right. And in the else block we can write, okay, just all right, in the else block we can write, don't take your umbrella, right. So now let's see, as it is not raining, that is raining full fall, so what is happening, our code is telling don't take your umbrella, all right. So that's how if and else statement works. It helps us to drive a program to certain directions, all right. So it's like that. It's just like the example I give you, like the raining example, and the parents are like the parents giving us some some sort of gift, like promising us to give some gift, and they are telling they will only give the gift if we bring 90% marks in our exam. So it's something it is totally like that, all right. It's how we drive our code, all right. It's how we actually drive our code. That's how this whole thing works, all right. So that is what it is. Now our next, all right, as this one is done, right, this one, let's mark it done. If and else is done, we are clear with if and else statement. Now the next one, all right, the next one for us is if, else if, and else statement, right. Now see, it is also similar, all right, it is also similar to if and else statement, just here comes another block, that is else if. Else if is also like if statement, but let's say if statement doesn't execute, it will go to the else if statement, and if else if statement also doesn't execute, then it will go to the else statement, all right. These kind of statements comes in real like comes really handy whenever we are writing, let's say solving some problem, or let's say making our own AR application in where we have to put some conditions, right. So this kind of statements comes really handy, all right, and they are used more oftenly, all right, they are used oftenly. So make sure understand it, all right. The syntax is very similar to the previous one. You like just in between if and else block, all right, you have to write another block, all right, that is else if, and in here another a condition goes on, all right, and within that condition we have to write an block, and it would contain a statement, all right. It's like that. Now let's say let's take an example of voting age, all right, let's implement it. Let's take age. Let's currently my age is 17, all right. As of now my age is 17. Now for the very first condition I'm going to give is, all right, the very first condition I'm going to give is if if age is greater than equals 18, then only, all right, then only I am eligible to vote in India, right. Then only I am eligible to vote. Let's say, what if, all right, else if our age is less than 18, all right. Let's give another condition, all right. If our age is less than 18, and, all right, and age greater than, all right, greater than 0. Of course a child, all right, who like who's not even born, he won't be able to vote. Of course that's that's ridiculous right. So console dot write line and give not eligible to vote, all right. So yeah, and in the else block we give console dot write line, give invalid age, all right, invalid age. Now what does this means? All right, let's first give it, let's give the age 19. All right, let's see which one will get executed. See, the first condition is being executed. That means the if block is being executed. Why? Because of course, the age we specified is greater than, all right, greater than equals 18. It is greater than 18, right? That's why we're eligible to vote. Now let's try out 17, right? We are not eligible to vote, of course, because you see, I am not 18. In India, the minimum voting age is 18, and I am not 18. So how will I vote if I am not 18? So 17 is like, if you are 17, you can't vote, right? Now let's try out, 4. Let's see if a 4-year-old can vote or not. No, the 4-year-old can't vote. Now let's see if a zero, all right, if a 0-year-old kid can vote or not. Invalid age, all right, because 0 is not an age, right? So here's the thing: if, else if, and else. That's how we use it, all right? That's how we use it, and you are going to use more oftenly when you will start coding your own AR applications or games, right? Or even like when you will do go in competitive programming or solve problems, you are going to use these statements oftenly. All right, so that's how we use these statements. All right, so I hope the concept of this is clear. Now we are going to do a bit of problem solving in here. All right, so for us there's a question. All right, for us there's a question. Let me write it down here. First of all, let me remove all this this statement. Now let me write this question in here. All right, write a program to take certain numbers, and if the numbers are if the number is divisible, just wait, if the number is divisible by 2, then we have to print divisible by 2, and if it is divisible by 3, then we have to print divisible by 3. All right, else, all right, or else if none of the condition matches, right, then we have to print not divisible by 2 or 3. All right, so this is a very simple program. All right, you learned about operators. All right, you know how to perform how to perform remainder operation, right? Now let's understand the logic first. All right, to check, all right, if the program is fully divisible, all right, see, to understand this, if a program to know if a number is fully divided, we have to make sure that the remainder is 0. If the remainder is 0, then only, all right, then only we say that that particular division is is valid. All right, means it is fully divided. That's when we call, like for example 4 divided by 2. In this case the remainder, all right, in this case the remainder is 0, right? But let's say again, let's take an example 5, let's divide 5 divided by 2. In this case there will be 1 as a remainder, and we can't call it divisible by 5, so divisible by 2, right? So make sure that keep this in mind. All right, keep this in mind. Any number that is that whose remainder is coming 0 after, is coming 0 after the division, it is divided that by a specific number. All right, so make sure you know that. Now you already know which one is the division operator. This one, all right, this percentage operator, or you can say modulo operator. All right, and to perform the division, it's very simple. Let me show you. First of all, take a value, that is int n. let's as of now let's give, let's give it 4. Now if n percentage 2, all right, that is, we are, how this is working, we are taking out the remainder, all right, remainder by dividing n with 2. We are trying to take out the remainder, then we are checking, all right, then we are checking if the resultant, all right, remainder is equals 0 or not. If it is 0, then we are going to, print console dot write line divisible by 2. Similarly, we are going to do the same thing with 3, that is n divided n modulo 3 equals 0. If that works, then it is divisible by 3 by 3. All right. Now if none of the condition works, all right, if none of the condition works, then I want to print out not divisible by by both 2 and 3. All right, so now let's check this out. All right, let's check this out and how these things works. See, as 4 is as the remainder, all right, as the remainder of 4 divided by 2 is 0 and it is matching the condition, that's why it is returning divisible by 2. Now let's try out 9. All right, it is returning as divisible by 3. The reason is 9 is divisible by 3. When we divide 9 by 3, the remainder comes 0, and as the remainder of the resultant division is 0 and it is equals 0, that's why it is returning divisible by 3. All right, it's as simple as that. Now let's give 1. It is not divisible by 2, not divisible by 3. All right, so that's why in the else block it is returning us not divisible by both 2 and 3. So I hope you understand how we exactly use if and else, if else, if and else statements. All right, and I hope it is clear. So yeah, let's we can conclude. All right, we can conclude that if else, if and else statement is also done. All right, now here comes two other statements. All right, very important. All right, means actually see, you are going to use inline if you want to assign, it doesn't have extra conditions in there, like only one single condition, means only one. If actually let's write the program first. All right, let's understand the program first, then you will understand what I'm trying to say. All right, so see, you can you saw the the syntax of if else statement. It's a bit big, right? It's a bit big. Now inline if na uh, is basically na inline if is basically the shorter version of if and else. All right, it's the shorter version uh, of if and else, and it is mostly used it is mostly used, or you can say it is more convenient to use when you assign some value to a variable depending on some condition. All right, it's more convenient to use in there. All right, rather than using it any for taking any input or something like that. All right, so it's very convenient to use those statements while being in the variable. So make sure you keep this in mind. Right, now if I talk about the syntax is pretty simpler. All right, first of all, there's the condition. All right, after that there's a question mark. All right, then here's a value. All right, and it will be assigned, all right, only if the condition is true. And then here comes a colon. All right, and this value will be assigned if the condition is false. It's just like if and else statement, right? Let's say let's try it out. Let's create a string variable. All right, let's say string statement, and let's give a condition that is 4 greater than 2. All right, now let's give the question mark and let's write 4 is greater than 2. All right, else what we can do is 2 is greater than uh, let's say 1. or just give me a second. Just give me a second. Let's let's change this whole statement. All right, change it will actually confuse you a lot. Let's change this whole statement. Let's say if 4 is greater than 2, then you can say 4 is assigned. All right, else you can write 2 is assigned. All right, let's make this simpler. So here you can see that what I'm trying to say right now. Also let's print the statement to see if everything is working right or not. All right, now let's try it out. See, it is telling us 4 is assigned because this condition is true, and if this condition is true, then only the first one statement will be assigned. If the condition is false, then the second one will be assigned. Let's change this sign, greater than sign to less than sign. Let's see. See, as this condition is false, that's why it didn't assign the first statement. It rather than assigning the first statement, it assigned the second statement. So that's how it works. All right. So it's just like if and else statement. All right, just in abbreviated form. So I hope you are clear with inline if. All right. This statement is very simpler to understand. Now let's mark it as done, and here comes our last one, that is switch case statements. All right. See, switch case now, it's like pressing some switch. If you press a switch, a certain perform will a certain certain function will be performed, and if you press another switch, another set of functions will be performed, right? It's something like that. All right. Now you can say, all right, see, let me make it simpler for you. The I can say that the switch statement is very similar to an if statement. All right, just that it does not work with a range of values. All right, it's simple as that. It's just that it doesn't needs any range of value. It doesn't works with that. All right, it's a switch case statement. Now it requires a case. All right, it requires a case. All right, which is based on a single value. All right, it will be based on a single value, and depending on the value of the variable, all right, it will switch, it will switch to some statement. All right, and the program will execute the correct block. All right, I know this definition, this wordings might get a bit confusing. All right, I totally understand. All right, even if I was in your place, I would also have got confused. Now to remove our confusion, all right, to remove our confusion, let's code it. All right, let's code it. First of all, let's understand the syntax. All right, it's very important for us to understand the syntax. All right, see, the very first thing, all right, that comes to us, the very first thing that comes to us is which one? Can you guess? Switch. All right, in inside that switch, inside that switch statement, we pass a variable. All right, we pass a variable that would work as our choice. All right, and then we start two curly brackets, and then we write a statement that is no case. Wait, case. All right, and in that we pass some value, and we give a colon. All right, and we say that, bro, do something. All right, do something. And now see, this choice will work as this value. Now if this choice, all right, if the value of this choice is similar to this value, then this switch case statement will work. All right, and then we give another statement that is a break statement. All right, I would tell you what is that. All right, and what happens if we don't put that in there. Now here comes another case. All right, that is uh, let's give another value 2. All right, and let's again say, bro, do something. All right, do something. Now again break. Now after that, here comes default statement. All right, default is basically this default statement will occur if, all right, this default statement will occur if none of the, none of the value works, all right, means none of the case works, all right. So this is the basic syntax, right? This is the basic syntax of switch case. Now there's no need, there's no need to get confused, all right, there's no need to uh, be confused. Let's, let's create a simple, very simple grading system, right? Like, let me make you understand the logic in here. Basically, what it will do now, it will tell us, all right, we have to tell that which grade we got, all right, and then based on that grade, it will tell us that the grade is good or not, all right. If it is good, if it is bad, it will tell us that, all right. So that is what we are going to code. So the first thing, I want you to create a variable, all right, that is char ch, and assign it, like, let's say first, for now, let's assign it some, value a. Right now here what you have to do is write the switch statement in here, pass the ch variable, it will be work as our choice variable that I told you about, right? And in here write case, all right, and in that case give single single colons and write a, all right. Then if you want, you can indent it. Then console dot write line, what I have to do, as the grade is a, I'm going to say very good, right? Very good, because the grade is really impressive, right? So now after that let's give another case, that is case b. Now again write console dot write line, we'll just going to write good, all right. B is also, grade b is also not bad, all right. So as we have defined two grades, all right, you can give more such grades in there, all right. You can add C grade, you can add D grade, all right. You can add E grade, you can add F grade, all right. But for now, for this example, this one is enough, all right. So see, now let's give default, all right. One thing you would notice that I haven't gave the break statement, all right. I would show you why. Actually, wait, let me write the break statement first, because what will happen, it will be more easier to make you understand how this break statement is working. Let's give the break to every every particular step, or you can say case. All right, now let's try and run it. See, as the as grade is a, it is returning us very good. Now try with b, it is telling us good. Now let's try with c, it is telling us default. Why default? Because we haven't defined, all right, case c, we haven't defined case c, that's why it is going to the default block, all right. It's also very similar to if and else statement, there's just a bit of difference. Now let's try and remove these break statements from there, all right. Let me show you what is it exactly doing. Now let's start with a grade. So here you can see it is giving us, all right, it is giving us some error, all right, cannot fall through from one case label case a to another, all right. In general, all right, in C sharp it is giving us error. In Java, if you would code in Java or any other language, you will find that they are not skipping, like after they are as I've stated case a, they printed the case a, then without the break statement they are going to case b, and without the break statement in case b they are going to default. So that's why we use break statement in here. Of course in C sharp it's giving error, but in Java, all right, in Java if you don't give break statement, it will print like every other statement in there, all right. So that's why I hope you understood the reason why we give break statements, right? So yeah, so make sure, all right, so make sure you understand, all right, you understand this concept very carefully, all right, because this concept is, going to be very useful, all right. And always remember this break statement. Now, it is a jump statement, all right. Break statement is a jump statement. It basically breaks the execution of after some condition is met, all right. You can understand that it like that, all right. So break statement is just breaks the work like breaks the working of the statement, right? So this is it for this lecture, all right. See you in the next lecture. Thank you, have a good day. Guys, welcome to this lecture, and in this lecture we are going to learn about loops, all right. See, this is a very important concept, all right, because we are going to use loops a lot, all right. We are going to use a loops a lot, because whenever you will be developing something, all right, you won't be like you don't want to do everything manually, right? You can loop through it, all right. For example, if you are what can I say? Let's say if you're let's say like created an array. All right, you created an array. I know you might you don't know the meaning of array as of now. All right, but that's totally okay. I would like in the next lecture only we are going to discuss arrays. All right, and for arrays we are going to need loops. All right, we have to understand loops to like work with arrays, right? So, see, we can use loops in multiple ways. Like, for example, let's say we want to apply some materials, all right. I'm taking an example, all right, in terms of AR, like the application we are going to make during, like, after we learn Vuforia, right? So, the basic, all right, the basic understanding of the basic concept of looping is to loop through something, all right. To loop through something. Loop, see, the formal definition, all right, for loop would be loops are basically a way to, iterate over something for finite or infinite number of times, all right. So, let's say for an example, all right, let's say for an example, do you remember, I'm not sure if this happened with you, but this happened with me a long time back. I was in like in class 5th, and at that point of time I was in I learned my first programming language, all right. That was Q basic, all right. In class 5th I learned my first programming language, and I got punishment at that time. I was like very, what can I say, a very naughty kid. I used to disturb my friends, and because of that, what I got was the teacher punished me, told me that you have to write something. I exactly don't remember. I think it was I'm sorry. You have to write I'm sorry 100 times. All right, and at that point of time, I knew how to use for loops, right? I understood the concept of for loop. I understood how to use it. So then it came to my thought, why not, see, the teacher is, teacher is trying to tell us that, you know, you have to write, I am sorry, 100 times, right? And teacher just wants it 100 times. She didn't told me how to write, like I have to write it manually, or I can use some dynamic way, like using a for loop to iterate over for 100 times, and print, right? Print I am sorry, right? So what I did is, all right, what I did, I basically I use the technique of for loop, all right, to iterate 100 times. I use the technique of for loop to iterate 100 times and print. I'm sorry 100 times, all right. It completed in 4 to 5 lines, and after I shown it to the teacher scolded me a lot, all right, and then then told me that you have to write I'm sorry 200 times for manually. And after that I never tried this with any teacher, all right. After that, actually, I never got punishment from class 6, so it never happened. So in class 5, this incident was was a very funny incident for me, because that was the first time I actually used for loop to save myself from writing the whole thing. So that's the concept of loops, all right. loop actually helps us to reduce or most of the work, right? Like for example, right now I can give you, all right, hey brother, write hello world 100 times, all right. So you, right now you don't know the concept of loops, but you are a very obedient student, and you will start writing like console dot write line, all right, hello world, right? You will be writing that 100 times, right? You will be writing that 100 times, all right. And that's going to take a lot of time, right? That's going to take a lot of time. So what we can do is we can use a loop, all right. We can use a loop to actually do it for us 100 times, all right, so that it the computer will only perform the the function. We don't have to do anything. Currently we are doing it manually, but with the loop we can like make our computer do the write the hello world, all right. So I will show you how to do that, but before that let's understand what a loop. So loops basically are a way to iterate over something for finite or infinite amount of time, all right. So you know first let's understand how many types of loops are there, all right. See, there are three types of loop, as all right. That is, let's first write it down in here. All right. The first type, all right, the very common used is for loop. All right. Then another one is while loop, and the third one is very least used. All right. Actually, I really don't use this loop anymore. Like I don't need it. All right, but you have to have an idea about do while loop, right? So that's why I'm teaching it right now. Although I don't think you will also be using do while loop in your career yet, but I never use like whenever developing applications, I never use do while loop. It never came handy to me. Whereas I used for loop and while loop a lot, right? So that's why I'm going to teach you all the three loops today, all right. And we are going to start with for loop, all right. See, remember, the concept of looping is simple, all right. Concept of looping is simple. It just tells that we are repeating ourselves, all right. Looping means repeating, all right. We looping totally means repeating ourselves over something, right? So that's the concept of looping. But there are three different ways to loop, all right. That is, one is for loop, another one is while loop, another one is do while loop, all right. And I would tell you, all right, when to use for loop and when to use while loop, all right. So make sure to listen to this lecture carefully. So first of all, let's understand the syntax of for loop. The syntax of for loop is very simple, all right. So the first is we have to write for, all right. Inside the for we have to give brackets, and the first, all right, the first would be first statement we have to write is start. Then we have to give a semicolon, then we have to give a condition, all right. Condition that for how many steps we want to run, means for how many times we want to run, right. Now the next would be, all right, the last one would be steps, all right. That is how many steps we want to take. Steps means how many, let's just say if we give step as 2, then let's say we are trying to print numbers from 1 to 10, right. So let's say if we give step as 2, then it would only like if we start from 0, then 0 plus 2, let's say it would give us 2, then 4, then some like it would give us like this, all right. Then inside that we would be printing like we would be instructing the program to do something, all right. So this is basically the syntax of for loop, all right. Now I told you my story of how I was punished, right. Now let's try to implement that punish, like let's try to implement that, all right. So for, you have to declare a variable, right. So I'm going to declare a variable within the for loop only. So for I equals 0, yeah, it's and remember that I'm starting the value of I from 0, all right. Then I want to go till I less than equals 100. I want to go till 100. Then I have to give how many steps I want to increment, all right, how many steps I want to go with. So I plus plus means 1, all right. Every step will be incremented by 1. Now if we want to let's say if we want to increment every step by 2, what we can do is plus equals 2. All right, but for now plus plus is totally fine with us. So now what you can write, console dot write line hello world. All right, so teacher told us that student write hello world instead of I'm sorry. All right, so now let's see if it is printed 100 times or not. All right, so there's not really a way to, we are not able to count it, right? So let's give a plus sign and you know add the I in here. Let's see now. Yeah, so here you can see that it's starting from 0 and it is going from 100, going up to 100. Now here you can see as it is starting from 0, the total number will be 101. All right, because if 1 is starting from here, then 0 is another extra 1, so it will be 101 times. All right, so to fix that, we can actually start the loop from 1, or what we can do is we can mark it like give the condition as I less than 0. Then what will happen, it would start from 0 and end up to 99. So it would be total 100, it would be total 100 times we looped. All right, so that's how we work with for loops. So for loop is a way to loop through, all right, some sort of some sort of condition. Now always remember, we use, all right, we use for loop, all right, we use for loop when we know exactly how many iterations do we want, like, right? So for in this example we knew, all right, in this example we knew that we are going to need 100, all right, we are going to need 100 iterations. So that's what we did. We uh, go we did 100 iterations in the program to print hello world. So that's when we use for loop. All right, so now as we have understood the concept of for loop, let's let's try writing some programs for it. Like, let's try solving some program, right? I want you guys to try it first. All right, so pause the pause this particular video after I give you the question and try it by yourself, then come to this video and see the solution. All right, so I'm writing a comment in here. Let's write a program to print table of a number using for loops. All right, so what you have to do is you have to code a solution, all right, which will be able to print all right, it will be able to print table of that number. All right, so make sure you do that, and right now pause the video and try it by yourself. It's okay if you are not able to do it. All right, it just needs some more practice. After practicing, you will be very familiar with the concept of for loop. All right, so let's try it out now. All right, so for I'm going to implement it. So for C, first of all, the very first thing I want you to is to declare a variable, all right, that is int n. All right, this would be the number, all right, that is I want to create a table of 2. All right, so now what I want is for int I, because I want to start from 0, all right, and I want to end up till 12, all right, and I plus plus. Why? Because we aren't skipping any step, we are just incrementing by 1. All right, we just want one step each. All right, now create another variable, all right, that is int. Let's let's name it f. All right, and what you have to do is multiply, all right, this value of n, all right, with I. See, remember how this is working. First of all, in the first iteration 2 is multiplied by 0 and the outcome is 0. In the second iteration, all right, how it is reaching to the second iteration, it is reaching to the second iteration by incrementing this I by 1. All right, so now in the second iteration I will be 1. All right, I will be 1 and 2 will be multiplied by 1, and in the again in the third iteration it will be incremented and it will be go to 2. All right, then again 2 will be multiplied by 2. So it will be working like this. All right, so I hope you understand how this program will be working. All right, then console dot write line and print the value. All right, and also make sure write it like this. So just wait, in, all right, n plus, give an asterisk in here, all right, and plus I. It's just an I'm just maintaining a decorum in here, all right, means I'm just actually let's leave this thing, all right. We will try this one later on. First of all, let me show you if it is printing the table of 2 or not. Yeah, it is of course printing. So 2 zeros are 0, 2 ones are 2, 2 twos are 4, 2 threes are 6, 2 fours are 8, 2 fives are 10, 2 six are 12, and so on. It is going up to 2 12 twos are 24, right? So we have successfully printed the table of 2. Now let's print the table of 12. Let's see if it is able to do it or not. See, 12 ones are 12, 12 twos are 24, 12 threes are 36, and it is going up to 12 12s are 144. So that's how it is working, all right. That's how a for loop is working. First, it is, remember, it is iterating till the condition is met, all right. And for us the condition is 12. We exactly know how many times we want to iterate. We know that we want to iterate it 12 times. That's how we set that's how we actually set up the condition so that it iterates up to 12, all right. Now for each iteration it is incrementing the value of I. That is, in the first iteration the value of I is 0, and 12 is multiplied by 0 and it is printed. And in the second iteration, when it goes to a second iteration, the value of I is incremented, all right. The value of I is incremented, and this 0 is changed to 1, all right. So and then again in that iteration 12 into 1 equals 12, right? So that's how this whole thing is working, all right. So I hope you understand how this worked, right? Now I hope for loop is the concept of for loop is cleared, because right now I'm going to go to while loop. So make sure, if you are not not clear with the concept of for loop, make sure you practice it a little bit, all right. Watch the portion of for loop, all right, the one I taught right now. So watch that again, practice for loop, all right, then only go to while loop, all right. So make sure you do that. So now let's remove this whole syntax thing, and let's mark for loop as done, all right. Now here we go to the for loop, all right. So what is for loop, while loop, sorry, what is while loop? Yeah, see, you can say while loop is a brother, all right, brother of for loop, all right. It is also used for looping, all right. But the thing is, all right, while loop, all right, while loop runs, all right, while loop runs till the condition is false, all right. It will run till the condition is false, and this proves one of our concept, that for loop is only used, all right, for loop is only used when, all right, for loop is only used if we don't know how many iterations we want, all right. That's when for loop is used, all right. As simple as that, all right. So now let's learn about the syntax. So let me comment this out, all right. So this is the basic syntax. We have to first declare a variable, all right. It's better to declare a variable at first, then write the while, all right, and in here the condition will go on, all right. Actually this this variable is not a part of the syntax, but I'm showing you because you would be needing it, all right. Then curly braces, and inside that you have to write do something, all right. So that is what the syntax of for while loop is, all right. Now I told you about the whole hello world example. Let's try to implement it. So first of all, I want you to declare a variable, all right, int I. equals 0, it should start from 0. All right, and give it a condition while, all right, while I is less than equals 100. All right, I is less than equals 100. I want to print hello world. All right, I want to print hello world. Now one more thing, all right, in for loop, remember how we were incrementing the value, right? Do you remember that how we were incrementing the value by I plus plus? Similarly in here also we have to do something, and we have to do that after all our statement is done. All right, that is, for now our only statement is console dot right line, and at the end we are going to write I plus plus. All right, now I will let you know what will happen if you don't give I plus plus, but for now, all right, for now let's see what happens if we give it. All right, let's see the basic example. See, it is printing hello world till 100. All right, it is printing hello world till 100, and it is stopping when the condition is becoming false. All right, it is stopping like say like see, when it reached 100, after when it was going to 101, as the condition is not meeting, as 101 is greater than 100, it stopped looping. All right, so that's how it is working. So let's understand. First of all, we declared a variable, declared a basic a basic variable. All right, we declared a variable I, then we created a while loop. In the while loop there's a condition I less than equals 100. Now this condition will be what can I say, this condition is responsible, all right, for executing this particular line, console dot write line. All right, and then we are going I plus plus, that is incrementing the value of I by 1. All right, that's what we are doing. Let's say if we let's say if we remove this I plus plus, let's see what will happen. See it, this particular website na sort of crashed for a moment, like it it not exactly crashed, but what can I say, it freezed. All right, freeze for a moment. All right, and here you can see the value, you can't everything in here is 0. All right, everything in here is 0, and at the end here's a error, that range error. All right, range error, max buffer length exceeded. That's because, all right, that's because we ran into an infinite loop. All right, means it is a never ending loop, it won't end ever. All right, that's why that's because we didn't give I plus plus. The reason is, what role is I plus plus playing is, it is incrementing the value of I. All right, like for the first, all right, for the first iteration it performed this particular thing, then we are incrementing to 1. All right, so then y is the second means then 1. All right, then 1 is the second iteration. In the second iteration, means the second iteration completed, we incremented the value of I. Now 1 has gone to 2. So like this, all right, like this we are working on the for loop. All right, so if you don't give the I plus plus, then what will happen? Then what will happen? If we don't give the I plus plus, then it will run into a infinite loop. All right, and of course we don't want that. So that's how a while loop works. All right, so I hope you are clear with the concept of while loop. All right, and also one more thing, we can we can write this I plus plus to I plus equals 1, I plus equals 2. Let's try it out with I plus equals 2 also. Let's see what happens. So you can see that it is iterating even number of times, right? It is iterating half the number of times of 100. So that's how it is working. All right, so that's how we code for loop. All right, now let's, all right, remember the program which I taught you, like to print out a table of a certain number, right? We are going to do the same thing with while loop. All right, so the very first thing I want you to understand is, write a variable, all right, n, that would be containing the number. Then write, all right, write a variable I, it would be the counter variable, means the I that we had taught you, all right, it would be incrementing the value after each successful statement, right? So now go to while I, all right, just wait, while I, all right, is less than equals 12, all right, what I want is to multiply, all right, multiply the number n with I, all right. Then after that I want to print it, all right, I want to print it console dot write line, I want to print it. Then after printing it, I am going to increment the value, all right, I'm going to increment the value by 1. So now let's see. Cool. So we got the same output that we got for for loop, right? So that's how it is working, all right. So I hope you are very clear with the concept of for loop and while loop, all right. So I guess you also know how when to use which, right? So we use for loop when we exactly know how many iterations we want, and we use for loop. Oh, sorry, did I? Oh, sorry. I guess I messed it up. So again, we use for loop when we know how many iterations we want. We use while loop when we don't know, all right, when we exactly don't know how many iterations we want. So that's when we use for loop, all right. And a for loop statement stops working when the condition, no, when the condition gets to false, all right. So always remember that. Now here comes our last looping statement, all right, and the least used ones, all right. This is known as do while loop, all right. It's see, do while loop now is very similar, all right. It is very similar to what can I say, while loop, all right. It is very similar to while loop, just there's a one difference, all right. In while loop, if the condition is false from the starting point, now it won't even execute a single statement. But in do while loop, even if the condition is false, all right, it will, all right, even if the condition is false, it will execute once, all right. It will at least execute once, all right. So let me first make you familiar with the concept of do while loop, means the syntax of do while loop actually. So I hope you are familiar with the concept of do while loop. So do, first of all you need to write do, then curly braces, all right. Inside the curly braces you have to go for writing the particular code you want to give. Then you have to give a while statement in here, then the condition in here to be executed, all right. So that's what the syntax is. It's a bit weird syntax, right? I know. So now what you have to do is define I variable, all right. See, we are going to write the same example we did last time, that is the hello world one. So then write do, all right, then console dot write line hello world. Then I'm going to increment the count, all right, means increment the value of I plus by I plus plus, or you can also do I plus equals 1, all right. Then in the while, all right, I'm going to give the condition I less than equals 100, and then semicolon. Now let's try to run it. So here you can see we actually got the hello world. Now to verify that if we actually ran 100 times or not, I'm going to add I to the equation. So now here you can see it has ran 100 times. Now you know what I told you just a few seconds ago, that even if the condition is false from the starting point, do while loop will at least execute once, all right. So let's verify it, all right. Let's verify it. Let's give if the condition is greater than equals 100, all right, if the value of I is greater than equals 100, and of course the condition is false. So here you can see with being, all right, even though the condition is false, it at least executed once. All right, so all right, that's what that's what a difference between do while and while loop is. All right, and see, you won't be using this do while loop much. I'm very sure of that, because even like I've been like using Unity engine for almost 4 years. Yeah, so it's been almost, I started in 2019, and it's been almost 4 years I've been using Unity engine, and it's been more like almost 2 years. All right, I guess 2 to 3 years I've been doing augmented reality development. All right, so here's the thing. All right, I have never used do while loop. All right, I have never used do while loop while developing games or AR applications. So maybe in your case you might face some moment where you have used where you should use or can use do while loop. So it's totally okay. All right, but in my case I never used do while loop in my development journey. So yeah, that's it. Now here's something last. All right, here's the last concept we are going to learn in this conditionals. Oh, sorry, not in this condition. I guess I forgot to change the name. Sorry, I'm very sorry. So I'm going to change the name. So in this looping, all right, in this loop concepts, we are going to learn this last thing, that is jump statements. All right, there are multiple jump statements in C sharp. Like there's go to, there's break, there's a continue statement, then there is return statement. All right, then there is throw statement. But in this particular lecture, we're going to learn about only two of them, that is continue and break statement. All right, so they're very simple. All right, jump statements basically now they are a statement. All right, jump statements are basically a statement that instructs the flow of a program, or that instructs the program to deviate from its normal flow sequence and jump to another line of code. All right, so jump statements are commonly used in loops and other control flow statements. All right, so you will also use this in switch case statements, often in uh, if else statements. All right, so let's see what are these. So first of all, let me show you let me tell you which statements we are going to learn today. All right, that is break. All right, we are going to learn about break and continue. All right, we're going to learn about break and continue. So let's implement it. So I'm going to use for loop for this. All right, you can try out with while loop, do while loop, anything you want. All right, so I'm going to create a for loop. All right, I'm going to iterate iterate this for loop over up to 10. All right, I'm going to iterate this for loop to 10. um, all right, now what I want to give a condition. All right, let's say I want to print, I'm printing. All right, all the numbers in here, so I'm going to print all the numbers in here. And now what I want, if, all right, if if I reaches to 7. All right, if I reaches to 7, what I'm going to do is, all right, if I reaches to 7, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break. All right, I'm going to break. So let's see if this works or not. See, it didn't print it. It broke. It broke the program. All right. After I reached to 7, it broke the program. All right. So that's what it is doing. Now, basically, break statements. Now, after reaching some point, now break statement helps us to terminate the whole program. All right. That's the whole point of break. All right. That's the whole point of break statement. Now, here comes continue statement. All right. See, continue statement is a bit different. It will actually skip that particular value and move to the next value. Let me show you. All right, just give me a second. So you guys might be thinking, all right, that I told you that continue statement skips some part, right? It skips some part and then moves to the next one. All right, but here in the output it didn't happen, right? Because, all right, because here you can see, before the if statement, this console.write line is being executed. So in this case, it already had printed 7. then how is it going to skip if it has already printed it, right? So that's why, to actually use the continue statement in this case, what we do is, we first of all we check for the condition, and then we write console.writeLine, and now here you can see that we are able to print up to 10 by skipping, all right, by skipping number 7, all right. So that's how this whole looping works, all right, and I hope this concept is very clear to you, all right. So yeah, that's it for this lecture. So see you in the next lecture. Thank you. Hey guys, welcome to this lecture, and in today's lecture we are going to learn about arrays. All right, arrays is a very important concept. All right, it's a very important concept in C# or any other programming language. So like, buckle up your belts and seat tightly, because it's really important for you to understand the concept of arrays, all right, because when see, at this stage, all right, at this stage, in the beginning stage, you might have very less use cases for array. Even actually in the beginning stage also, you'll be using arrays more often, all right, than you know. So what I want to say is, let's say, take for an example in augmented reality only, all right, we we use arrays in a lot of things, all right. We like in plane detection, when we want to, like, let's say we want to place, all right, place multiple objects into the real world, all right, means in markerless AR, whenever we want to try to let's say place multiple objects in the real world, we create an array of those objects so that we can uh, place them in the real world, all right. So you are going to use arrays in everywhere, all right. So it is one of the very important concept. So let's dive into this topic, all right, without waiting anymore. So see, in general, when we store values, we use a variable, all right. But there's a problem, all right. The problem that comes with it is that we can only store one single value, all right. We can only store one single value. We can't store multiple values, all right. And that's a problem. If arrays, all right, if arrays or lists or they wouldn't have been there now, then we wouldn't have been able to store multiple values in a variable, all right. So what arrays does is, arrays actually enables us, all right, arrays actually enables us to store numerous number of value of any data type, all right. It can be of string, it can be of integer, it can be of double, it can be of float, all right, it can be of char. So they help us, all right, they provide us uh, a technology so that we could store multiple values, all right. We can store multiple values within one single variable, all right. So that's how we use sorry, that's what is an array is. An array, in simple words, all right, an array is a collection of data, all right. An array is simply a collection of data, all right. Now as we have learned about what actually array is, let me tell you about the agenda of today's lecture. So today we are going to be going through the very basics of array, all right. That is, we'll be learning how to initialize an array, then would be learning how to access values within an array, all right. Then we would be learning about some different methods, all right, available in an array, all right. So let's get started. So the very first thing is that we have to understand how to uh, you know implement an array, all right. See, there are two ways of implementing an array. Let me first of all, not in comments, wait, so let me show you, all right. There are two ways. One is a dynamic way and the one is a static way, all right. I would tell you why they are called those, all right. First of all, let's try out the dynamic way. So the first thing, all right, see, whenever you declare a variable, how do you do that? So you can say int val equals 12, right? You declare a variable like that. Now all, when creating an array, all right, when creating an array, make sure, all right, that you don't miss the square brackets. Where to put the square brackets? You have to put the square brackets after int variable, all right. You have to put the square brackets after int variable. After that, this variable, all right, this variable you created would be considered an array, all right, it will be considered a variable that can store arrays, all right. Now to store arrays, what we have to do is open curly braces, all right, and within that curly braces put some values, all right, 2 1 6, let's say 3 4. All right, so now let's run it and let's check whether it's returning us any error or not. All right, so here you can see it is telling us your program did not output anything. All right, don't worry about that, all right, because we actually haven't printed anything. I would show you how to, how to print each and every value within an array, right? So don't worry about that. So this is one way, all right, this is one way of you know initializing or creating an array, and this is known as dynamic array, all right. Now another way around, all right, in creating array is you have to again follow the same thing, that is int square brackets, then give the variable name, all right. After that, all right, after that what you have to do is you have to write a new keyword, all right, then int, then again square brackets. Now this square bracket has a special meaning. I would tell you, all right. So what is the meaning, all right? See, there's a reason why we call this type of array and static array. The reason is we already, all right, from the start only, when we declare the array, all right, from the start only we specify the size of an array. That's what we are doing right now. So in this square brackets we have to give a size of an array. So let's give it 5, all right. So now this is a static array, all right, this is a static array. It doesn't have any value in it. Means of course it does have, all right, it does have value in it, but all right, but it is static. The reason is we have already, all right, we have already initialized this array, all right, we have already initialized the array, and because we have already means declared the size of the array, because we have already declared the size of the array in the memory, all right, in the memory it has created a static space, all right, in the RAM it has created its own memory that cannot be exceeded, all right. So that is it. Now after this whole bracket thing, what you have to do is again open your curly brackets, all right, and after that write the number you want to give, all right. So yeah, that's how we declare a static array, all right. Now let's again run it and let's see if it's returning any error or not. No, it's not returning any error because this syntax is totally correct, all right. Now, all right, see the difference. Now the difference between both, all right, both dynamic and static array, all right, is basically, it means, now see, static, why is it called static, all right, why something is called static? Static means which can't be changed afterwards, all right, which we can't change afterwards. What if it is declared on the start, it is declared, all right, we can't actually change it, or means we can't actually add something more up to it, all right, we can't exceed that memory, all right. But dynamic means it is, what can I say, it is adjustable in the runtime. Dynamic is adjustable in the runtime. So that is what the, that is what the difference is between dynamic and static, all right. I hope you are clear about this, all right. So yeah, so I'm going to keep working with dynamic arrays only, all right. Now here's the thing, all right. So we have learned about initializing array, we have learned about what exactly is an array, all right. Now let's learn about accessing values within an array, all right. Do you remember when I taught you about, when in the second lecture only, I taught you about indexing, all right. I hope you remember the concept, all right, but if you don't, let me tell you. Indexing, now it defines, all right, indexing basically defines position, positional value of some data, all right. In simple terms, it means, all right, it means, let's say there, how many elements are there in this, how many elements are there in this particular array? There are total 5 elements, all right. And if we start indexing them, all right, indexing, in simple words, you can, you can understand indexing as um, basically address, all right. Means exactly, if we talk about memory address of any variable, it's totally different, all right. It's totally different topic. I'm just trying to make you understand how, like, what is indexing. With indexing na, it's think of it as an address of someone, all right. Like, for example, I'm Priyanshu, all right. There are two Priyanshus, right. And both live, all right, both live in two different, like, two different places, all right. But both are Priyanshu, both are, means, whose name and title are totally similar, all right. But how will we know that Priyanshu, means the Priyanshu he is finding is the actual one, all right. So that's how address comes in, all right. The person will ask for the address, and if the address is right, he will get to the right Priyanshu. So basically, now indexing is basically the positional value of some data. It's simple as that. It's the address of some data. Like, see, for the first element, all right, the first element of an array, the address is 0, means in the index value of first element is 0, the index value of second element is 1, the index value of third element is 2, and it goes like this, all right. It always goes like this. So that is what indexing is, and this is how indexing will help us accessing the values, all right. Now let me show you. So let me show you by printing it, all right. So I want to access, all right, I want to access, let's say this, all right, 3 from the array. So how would I do that? So let's count it. So as it is starting from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, all right. So this is in the, it is in the third position. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to write 3 in here, and let's see if it works. Yeah, we got it, right. We definitely got it, because the positional value of 3, sorry, the positional value of 3 is 3, right. If you are confused, all right, let me give you another way around, all right. So let's say I want to, access this, all right, this particular value, all right. Means I want to access the 6. So how would I do that? So let's count it: 0, 1, 2. So it is in the second position, right. So now let's run it. So here you can see we are with the index, all right, with the help of index values, we are able to access it. And always remember, whenever you want to access index value, now write the variable name, then open square brackets, and inside that put the index value, all right. So this is how we access, all right, this is how we access values within an array. Now let's say if we let's say I want to print, all right, each and every element within this array, all right. I want to print each and every element within this array. So what I'm going to do is, for int I equals 0, I less than equals, all right, how many elements are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right. So what I'm going to do, less than, all right, val dot length, all right. See, this is a method, all right. You already learned another for your first method, all right. Dot length, all right. See, this dot length method, now this length method returns the total length, all right, the total length of your array, all right. So as our total length is 5, that's why it has returned 5. Now here comes the problem. Here you can see what I've written, int I equals 0, I less than, means it will iterate less than 5, all right. Do you know why it is ideal, and why this solution will work, and why not less than equals will work? Actually, it is better to try by yourself, actually. Pause this video, all right, pause the video, try both the way, all right. Try both the way and check which one is running, all right. I will show you right in here. Just give me a few seconds. So now, as we have, tried to access, as we are trying to access the values, means each and every value. What I'm going to do is, I wrote console.writeLine. Then I'm going to take the variable name, the square brackets, and I'm going to put the I inside it, because with every iteration the value of I is increasing. All right, so here you can see we got all the elements. We got all the elements because we started from 0. 0 is this one. All right, and ended with 4. All right, and the fourth positional value is of this one. Right, now let's try out less than equals 1. Let's see what happens. Let's see, it has printed, but here you can see it is returning us error. Now what's the error? Index was outside the bounds of an array. The reason is the length of an array. All right, the length of an array is 5. All right, the length of this array is 5, but indexing ends at 4. All right, and we are trying to access the elements of this array through indexing. So if there is, all right, if there is no element present, in the fifth position, all right, if there is no element present in the fifth position, then of course it will return error, because it doesn't have any value. All right, now here's a fun fact. All right, here's a fact that you must know. All right, like I guess I forgot to tell you about this. Like when we create this kind of array, now just wait. When we create this sort of array, all right, if we, let's say, if we don't assign values in here now, like I assigned previously, if we don't assign those values in here now, it will automatically 0. All right, 0 will be assigned to each and every position. All right, so this is for a fact, and you guys must know it. All right, so now we have learned the very basics of array. All right, we have learned how to access elements in an array, right? So now it is our time to look into the methods. All right, the methods present in an array. All right, you already saw a method length. Now let me show it to you again. So here I am declaring a variable, that is int val. All right, so int val, then let's give it 5 2 0 7, let's say 3 9 8. So here you can see, all right, we created our own array. Now the first method we are going to learn about is length method. All right, and you already know what exactly is length, right? How length method works. So what I'm going to do is console dot write line val dot length. All right, so what this will do, it will return, all right, it will return us the total length of the array. So here it is returning 6, because there are 6 elements present in the array. Similarly, we have, let's say we have another variable. All right, we have another variable, not exactly a variable, just so we have a variable of array. All right, so we have a variable of array. Now what we have to do is, we have to learn another function. All right, and that function is basically sort function. All right, see, sorting is basically rearranging rearranging the values. All right, means the gibberish values in an ascending order or descending order. All right, so that is what uh, sorting is. All right, so here comes the function. All right, so this is the sort function. First of all, let me remove this length one, because of course we don't need it anymore. Now what we have to do is, let me show you. All right, we have have an array initialized. Now what you have to do is, you have to write a function array dot sort. All right, and inside the sort function we have to pass an argument, and that argument will be an array. All right, and now what you can do is, for int I equals 0, I less than array. All right, so sorry, not array, val dot length I plus plus. All right, and let's try to print it. All right, let's try to print this value. All right, let's try it out. Let's see what happens. All right, currently this particular array is not ordered. All right, And now to make it ordered, we use the sort function. So here you can see it has arranged, all right, it has arranged all the elements in an ascending order. All right. So that's how this thing works. All right. So now we are going to learn another function. All right, that is index of. All right, this is index of function, that is it will return the index of some value. All right. So you already know how this works, right? I guess I showed you previously. Means not in this, and not in case of arrays. So int idx equals array, all right, dot index of, all right, and within that we have to pass two arguments. The first one would be the array, all right, means the array from which you are looking for the value, and the second one will be the value, means the value on which you will be taking out the, means you have to put the value uh, which you want to get. All right, means which you want to get, in the sense, let's say I want to put a value and I want to get its index value, right? So that's what I will be doing. So I'm just going to put a certain value in here. So I'm going to put 7 in here. All right, and let's print it. All right, console dot write line idx. All right, so let's run this program and let's see what happens. So here you can see it is returning 3. The reason is 0 1 2 3, 7 is available in index 3. All right, so that's how this whole index of function works. All right, now here comes 3 more functions. All right, that is maximum, minimum, that is max, min, and sum. All right, so the meaning is hidden in their name only. So it's like the max function. All right, first of all, understand this max function will return the maximum value available. All right, the maximum value available in an array. The min function will return the minimum value available in the array, and the sum, all right, the sum function will return the total sum of elements from the array. All right, so let's try to print it out. All right, so console dot write line, all right, and inside this val dot max, and give parenthesis. All right, so now let's see what is the maximum value in here. In our case, the maximum value 8 is 8. Now let's see the minimum value, and that's totally right. And let's see the minimum value. The minimum value is 0, and that's also totally right. Now let's print out the sum of, the sum of total array. So you can, if you want, you can perform the calculation, and you will be surely getting 25. All right. So these are the array methods, all right, that you must have a basic idea about. All right, and I would suggest, all right, I would suggest you guys to look more into arrays after this session also. All right, because array is a very important concept. All right, and there are a lot of algorithms that works on arrays. Like there are multiple sorting algorithms, searching algorithms. So I want you guys to have a very good idea and understanding of arrays. All right, so make sure you do that. And so yeah, that's it for this lecture. See you in the next lecture. Thank you. We are going to learn about functions in C#. All right, see, functions are a very important topic. All right, in terms of programming. All right, the reason behind that is because functions helps us to manage our code. All right, it helps us to lower the number of codes we write. Function helps our means function helps us to keep our code clean. All right, so a function has a lot of use cases. All right, in when you will be developing, all right, your AR applications, you will be working with functions. All right, like update. All right, like the update method in Unity is a function. The start method in a Unity is a function, right? So basically functions and methods, all right, are an essential part of programming any software. All right, see, whenever we code, we have to follow a very simple principle of dry. Now what is dry? Dry means don't repeat yourself. All right, why? Because it increases the code quality, it saves a lot of time. All right. And functions, in simpler terms, functions or methods are basically a block of code. All right. They are basically a block of code which can be used anytime we want. All right. Without repeating ourselves. All right. Like for an example, you have implemented an algorithm. All right. That is a sorting algorithm. Let's say you have implemented a selection sort algorithm. All right. Now you have to use that algorithm at multiple places in your program, right? So let's say the algorithm is of 10 to 20 lines. All right, for example. Now the problem would come that if you, like, manually write that algorithm in each and every portion, now it will increase the code base. All right, it will increase the code base, then it will cost you a lot of your time. All right, and time is money, right? So what function does is we can create a function of that particular sorting algorithm and use that function everywhere. All right. So that saves a lot of time and makes the code base more optimized. So it is very important, all right, to understand the concept of functions. All right. So basically there are two steps through which we can, use a function. The first is we have to create a function. All right. And the second is we have to call a function. All right. Now, see, I would show you what does calling a function means is. All right. See, for an example, if I had to show you a function right now, this, you can see this main method right in here. All right. Or main function right in here is a function. All right. The difference between a regular function and this main function or the main method is that main method calls itself automatically. All right, it is called automatically, whereas a regular function has to be called by the user, all right, or the developer. So this is the major difference between a specified, means this main function, and a regular function. All right. Now by calling it, we means we have to call the function. We have to say to the function that function, do this task for me, then only the function will work. All right, he won't do the task by himself, we have to command him. All right, so that's why we call a function. Right. Now as we have discussed about function, one more thing is that you have to keep in mind whenever creating a function, now you can't write, means create a function inside another function. All right, always remember that. So whenever we create a function, it should be outside a function. All right, like this: public static, all right, void set score. All right, and like this. All right, we create a function like this. Now I know this might be a bit confusing. All right, so I'm going to explain you each and everything. First of all, let's start with the syntax. Right, let me create a commented line. All right, in this commented line, the first, all right, the first that would come will be an access modifier. All right, the very first thing will be access modifier. I will tell you what exactly is the access modifier. All right, after that there will come a return type. All right, after the return type, all right, you have to give your function a name. All right, and then you have to give parenthesis. All right, inside the parenthesis you can add parameters. What are parameters? Parameters basically takes, it is basically a list of arguments, all right, that we provide, like in array.sort function that I taught you in the arrays lecture. What happened in there, we provided an argument inside that sort function, right? So that's how, that's why we use parameters. So parameters would come inside this function, means this parenthesis, and then you already know what to do: open and close curly brackets. All right, and inside this you have to put some code. All right, now let's see the actual code for it. First of all right, here you can see we are writing a function. First of all, we are giving an access modifier. All right, public, all right, void, all right, and then what you have to give is a function name. What would be the function name? The function, let's set the function name as set scope. All right, and now inside this function we have to give, all right, write some code, that is console dot write line, and inside this you have to print something. Let's print hello world. Now to call this function, or let's say let's rename this function to hello world only. All right. So now to call this function, what we have to do is just wait. Yeah. To call this function, what we have to do is we have to write the function name like this and then add parenthesis into it. And let's run it. So here you can see, all right. Here you can see it is giving us an error. What is this error? It is telling us an object reference is required to access non-static member. All right. The reason is we didn't give any reference to the object. All right. And currently, as you have not learned about object-oriented programming, we'll be learning about object-oriented programming in the next class. So here's a keyword. All right. Static. All right. Right now, you don't have to put your mind into the keyword static and public. All right, because these two keywords will make more sense after the next lecture. All right, because these two basically these two keywords are mostly used in object oriented programming only. All right, so now let's run the program and let's see what happens. See, we are able to get the output. All right, now I would explain you, all right. I would explain you this code, all right. What exactly are these? First, here you can see we are specifying an access modifier. That is this one. This is the access modifier. Now, what exactly is an access modifier? Access modifier is like a gatekeeper, all right. Like let's say you have a security guard in your house, all right. You have guided, means you have told that the security guard that you are like you don't want anybody to disturb you, all right. So at that point of time you have gone private. But if your security guard, if you haven't, like if you have told your security guard that brother, if anyone comes to meet me, then let him inside, all right. Let him come inside. So then you are public, all right. The security guard will let it go. It's the access modifiers are also something like this. Public and private, all right. Public and private. Public means you can access that particular thing from any class, all right. Whereas private means you can't access that particular thing, let it be a variable or method. You can't access it outside of their class. So I know this might seem a bit overwhelming, or maybe it might seem a bit confusing, but that's totally okay, because all these concepts, all right, you will get a grip on all these concepts after the next lecture, because in object oriented programming we are going to learn more about methods, we are going to learn more about access modifiers, we are going to experiment with it, all right. So don't worry, all right. Now, I hope the basic concept of access modifier is clear. It just access modifier helps us to modify the access. All right, it helps us to modify, restrict the access of any variable or of any method. All right, so that is what an access modifier is. Next, here comes the static keyword. All right, don't worry about that. Don't worry about the static keyword. All right, let me. I'm going to explain the static keyword in the next lecture, all right, because this static keyword is one of the very important concept that you should know, all right. After the static keyword comes return type, all right. Return type, all right. Return type is basically what kind of value we want to return to the function, all right. Return type basically defines what value can be returned to the function. It can be of void, all right. It can be float, it can be string, all right. So now, see, access modifiers can be of multiple types, all right. It can be Boolean, all right. It can be of bool, it can be, of float, it can be of string, all right. Another type is void. In a void, all right, in a void return type, we do not need to return, all right. We do not need to return anything in a void, in a void function. But let's say we create a function with a different return type, let's say int, all right. So public static int, all right. Let's say we are let's create a function that would give us the square of some number. So let's write a function that is square of, all right. Then in here what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a variable, all right, that is int, let's say square square, all right, square of, I'm going to create this variable, all right. In here the s is small and in the function it is in caps, all right, so don't worry. So now what I can do, how to, how can we exactly make a square of the number, right? Multiply that number with the same number, right? So here I'm taking an parameter, all right. So the parameter would be integer n, all right. You can take as many parameters you want, all right. I can even take another parameter as a float, all right. I can even take that is float n1, all right. I can do that. So the thing is, you don't have to be like the function can only take one parameter. You can give as many parameters you want, all right. So now as we have given the parameter, we are doing it n into n, and after that I'm returning, all right. I'm returning, we are using the return keyword. I'm returning this square of, all right. I'm returning this square of variable to the function. Now in here, as we called this function, it printed us hello, all right. But to get the value of this function, all right, that is the square of function, it would be a bit different. How? Let me tell you. Let's try it out actually. All right, let's take the square of square of function, and let's put a value. Let's say 2. We want square of 2. Now let's run it. Let's see. See here, you can see your program did not output anything. The reason behind is, it is not printing anything. It is returning the value to the function. Now to print, all right, now to print the value of the function, what we have to do is, we have to store this, store the returned value into a variable. So how do we do that? So create a variable that is int final. You can name it anything. After you have stored it like this, then you can do console dot write line final, all right. And after that, you can simply print anything, all right. Means simply print it. Now let's say try out square of 4. So the square of 4 will be 16, right? So here you can see that it is giving us the output as 16. Similarly, you can also create your return types as boolean, all right. You can create your return types as string, all right. One more thing you have to keep in mind, if you are specifying a return type like int, you have to return integer values only. If you try to return float value, floating point or string value, it would give you error, all right. So make sure you practice on this, all right, and don't worry about the access modifiers and the static keyword, all right, because in the next lecture, that is where we'll be exploring classes and objects, that is a basics of object-oriented programming. There would be there you would be learning about the static keyword, the about static classes. You'll be learning about objects, all right. You would be learning about instances. Then you would also be learning about this access modifiers, how we use them, right? So you'd be learning all those things in the next lecture. So don't worry if you are confused somehow. By the next lecture, the topic of functions will be very clear to you. But if I had to say in a very simple word, functions are just basically a block of code that help us to reduce the reduce the lines of a code. All right, we can reuse that function. And always remember, don't repeat. Always follow the principle of don't repeat yourself. All right, like let's say if you are creating an algorithm, then create a function of that algorithm so that you can use that function anywhere you want, all right. So make sure you follow the principles of dry, all right. So yeah, that's it for this lecture. So in the next lecture, we are going to learn about classes and objects. In this lecture, we are going to learn about object-oriented, means the very basics of object-oriented programming, all right. And in that, we will be learning about classes and objects, all right. So this is the very basic of object-oriented programming. There are many other concepts, all right, that you would be needing to learn. But for now, for the starting, all right, for starting, this is the topic that I'm going to teach you, all right. We'll be learning about classes and objects. We'll be learning about fields. We'll be learning about methods, that is class members, all right. We'll be learning about constructors, how to create a constructor. We are going to learn about access modifier, static keyword. We are going to learn about static classes, all right. So without any further ado, all right, let's start with the lecture, all right. See, to understand classes and objects, now understand this object-oriented programming, all right. We have to understand the very fundamental concept of object-oriented programming. What exactly is it? See, object-oriented programming is basically an approach, all right, that breaks a programming problem into objects that interact with each other. All right. Basically, objects are created from templates, and those templates are known as class. All right. We actually